Of course, today is November 22nd, 2016, but on this day in history, November 22nd, 1718, the famous pirate Edward Teach, or as most of us know him, Blackbeard, was killed during a battle off the North Carolina coast. In 1906, the SOS distress signal was adopted at the International Radio Telegraphic Convention, but a 24-hour wireless operator was not required until the tragic sinking of the Titanic in 1912. And tragedy, wow, on this day in 1963, President John F. Kennedy is assassinated. The 35th President of the United States is gunned down while traveling through Dallas in an open-top convertible, part of a motorcade. Kennedy became the fourth president in our history slain by an assassin. Vice President Lyndon Johnson, who was 3 cars behind President Kennedy, was sworn in as the 36th President of the United States later that day as he took the oath of office on the tarmac at Love Field in Dallas aboard Air Force One. Our memories of Jack Kennedy, thankfully, are not limited to what happened 53 years ago today in Dallas. History also reminds us that President Kennedy spoke of a new frontier. It is that memory which still motivates millions. And we recall JFK's challenge to go to the moon in this very special American moment.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
In 1961, newly elected President John Fitzgerald Kennedy announced to the Congress and to all of mankind America's intention to send man to the moon. Previously restricted to the realm of science fiction, the president's commitment set in motion an unprecedented effort to fulfill one of man's oldest dreams. The obstacles were monumental, not the least of which was to create an energy source capable of sending a manned spacecraft to the moon. The answer stood 363 feet tall and delivered 8 million pounds of thrust, making the Saturn V the most powerful rocket ever built. On July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11, carrying astronauts Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, and Edwin Buzz Aldrin, circled the moon until Armstrong and Aldrin entered the lunar module and readied themselves for their historic landing. With just 20 seconds of fuel left, disaster was narrowly averted when Armstrong had to manually fly the Eagle away from unexpected boulders to a smoother and less dangerous landing zone. Although the imagery was poor, Neil Armstrong's words came through loud and clear.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
However, the flight was not without controversy. Buzz Aldrin, a devout Christian, administered himself communion on the moon. Since NASA was already fighting a lawsuit from atheist Madalyn Murray O'Hair, who objected to the earlier Apollo 8 crew reading from the book of Genesis, Aldrin's communion was kept a secret from the public. Not so secret was the plaque bolted to the descent ladder on the lunar module. It was left on the moon to greet future visitors and reads, "We came in peace for all mankind." For Newsmax TV, I'm Bill Curtis, and this is an American moment.
And that American moment prompts me to ask you a couple of questions. Number one, where were you when Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon July 20th of 1969? Where were you 53 years ago today when we got the news from Dallas about Jack Kennedy? 1-877-NEWSMAX, 1-877-639-7629. To the here and now and what will become history, but of course first it's news. Ed Berliner from our Newsmax TV newsroom with the taste of what he's working on for tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on Newsmax Prime. Ed?
All right, JD. One of the truly fascinating things about any election is watching the evolution of the candidates. From the moment they first hint about running for office to the moment some of them assume office, every single one of them evolves on the issues. Evolve being a kind word in some cases for completely changing of a mind in order to fit what the people want in order to get their vote. In the case of President-elect Donald Trump, there were key moments in his campaign that enraged the opposition and brought supporters to new heights of delight, quite often leading to battle cries that became staples of every Trump performance.
How do you lie to the FBI and now you're running for president? How does that happen? Right? You know what? I've been saying, let's just beat her on November 8th. But you know what? No. You know what? I'm starting to agree with you, I'll tell you.
There are questions that should be addressed and issues where the president-elect should be scrutinized more vociferously than in the campaign. The reasons for this recent backup and his videotaped statement released in the last 24 hours, which addressed his first 100 days in office and said nothing about the iconic border wall or his promise to repeal Obamacare the first day in office. It's all tonight on Prime. We'll address the newest hardcore politician in Washington, D.C., Donald Trump, and ask how much leverage his supporters will give him as he seemingly changes his mind on campaign promises. JD, that and more coming up tonight on Prime.
Look forward to it again, 8 o'clock Eastern. And it is worth noting that there's another term in Washington parlance, a trial balloon. Dick Morris will join us at the outset of our program on Newsmax Prime tonight. And we ask Dick tonight, we'll find out, is what happened today with Kellyanne Conway saying that President Trump would not have his Justice Department pursue any type of criminal investigation of Hillary Clinton? Is that what's known as a trial balloon? Is it possible that the concern of people who voted for Mr. Trump might again catch his ear and he would have plausible deniability? Something worth noting. Now, another subject, and I believe we have this, to put a smile on your face, despite what goes on politically, headlines and punchlines.
On Wednesday at the White House, President Obama will pardon his final Thanksgiving turkey.
Today, I have the awesome responsibility of granting a presidential pardon to a pair of turkeys. We can't wait to pardon these turkeys. And with that, I think we are going to bestow the official pardon. The most powerful position in the world brings with it many awesome and solemn responsibilities. This is not one of them. It is a little puzzling that I do this every year. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Here we go. Yeah.
But Donald Trump was tweeting, "The theater must always be a safe and special place. The cast of Hamilton was very rude last night to a very good man. Mike Pence, apologize." First of all, Mr. Trump, the only president who gets to complain about the theater is Abraham Lincoln.
Donald Trump settled the fraud lawsuit against Trump University over the weekend for $25 million. Well, technically, he settled it for $24 million plus 2 tickets to Hamilton.
You notice how the comics are trying to work on their Trump impersonations there? Colbert wasn't too bad, or is he Colbert now? I still call him Colbert from Comedy Central, but he's getting it down. The tone, I got to work on it. I can do the gestures and the one phrase is, "that I can tell you." So tonight on Newsmax Prime, this I can tell you. Miranda Kahn will join me on the anchor desk. As I mentioned earlier, Dick Morris in turn will join us to talk about this notion that Hillary, well, she's off the hook. Also with us, noted columnist Liz Peek and my old pal from Congress, Pete Hoekstra, former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. I know you're intelligent, so you'll want to join us, especially since Miranda Kahn will handle the bulk of the duties tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern. Till then, stay brave, stay free, stay tuned, and thanks for watching.